What's up, my spooky people? This is Taylor, and I just wanted to start this episode out with a quick correction to the previous episode. George and Nancy were so kind to reach out to us and let us know that we had Irving Klein and Ronald mixed up in who was killed by what. So Irving Klein was killed by the torpedo attack and Ronald was killed by the kamikaze attack, as were the pilots we found in the wardroom that we're going to talk about today. So thank you guys so much for reaching out and correcting us on that, because there were so many names and so many people, and I had a hard time keeping everything straight when I was putting all of this together. So with that, we are going to move on with the episode. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Taylor.
And I'm Whitney.
Hi.
And
I'm Mom.
I'm Jeff.
And we're the Ghost Sisters and family.
Yeah.
So, welcome back for the first episode, a second part of our USS Lexington, first part of our evidence review from the USS Lexington. If you have no idea what we're talking about, you need to go back an episode and listen.
And if not, then just enjoy the ride.
Yes, and just enjoy it. So, we got a stupid amount of evidence. I actually have 19 pages worth of stuff for us to go through, so I decided it would be best to break it up into 2 episodes. So we started our investigation initially with going on the tour, and whenever you do the ghost hunting package thingy that we did, you get general admissions, and then you'll come back afterwards for the actual investigation. The investigation itself was run by Blue Ghost Paranormal. We were with the chief investigator of Blue Ghost Paranormal, George, and his wife, Nancy, and all of this was put together by Starla and Bill on the USS Lexington, and so I wanted to take a second to thank them for putting this together, and of course George and Nancy showing us around and doing all the things with us, because I'm sure that initially they didn't know what to expect, and then probably by the end of our first 2, they were like...
We also didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect.
And they were great because they did just kind of let us do our thing. They offered like, well, would you like to go here? And we're like, sure. Yeah. But they let us do what we wanted to do. So that was pretty good.
So we got there about 6 o'clock, and we were greeted by George, and he took us to the volunteer room where we met Nancy, and we basically told George and Nancy where we wanted to go, the areas that we felt would be interesting whenever we were doing our tour. And the tour is only certain areas of the ship. So like the brig, we weren't allowed to go to on the tour, but we could go there for the ghost hunt.
If you do go and you only go to like the regular tour kind of thing, like just by general admission, they do have like a brig cell set up on the deck so that you can see what it looks like. But the actual brig, no one's allowed to go there.
Yes. Except for us. They told us where they suggested we go based on experiences that they had. So it was kind of a combination. And we were basically like, if you could have places that you get stuff, take us there. We'd be happy to go. We went over just some general things. We both got some, inaugural flashlights that made us officially like, your ghost hunter, kind of like Blue Ghost Paranormal thing.
They were
nice.
Those
they were really
nice.
Flashlights. Yeah, it was just a little flashlight on a lanyard. We ended up using those.
I was like, this is now my official ghost hunting flashlight.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So, and then after that, off we went. So we started with the battle dressing area, which was off limits to the initial tour because it's actually part of a haunted house. Which is...
So you're walking through, because they still had all of the stuff up, because it's a haunted house by a third-party company.
Yeah.
So it's not even like the Lexington anymore. It is, but it's not. So you walk through it, and there's like skeletons hanging and stuff. And so
bloody handprints.
It's like dark in there. And y'all
just to be clear, though, this is a Halloween type of haunted house.
Yes.
It's a scare house.
Yes.
Yeah, it's they got like stuff on the walls. They've got like handprints and shit.
At one point, we walked past a series of toilets.
With like heads.
There was a head in it, and Nancy, as we were walking back, she was like, "There's a head in the head." We were like,
But it was funny because like all the lights are out. You can only really see with either the flashlight or through like the night vision camera, and so like you turn and you're like, "Oh geez," because there's a person hanging from the wall, and you're like, "Oh shit," but not real.
But basically, the battle dressing area was if somebody was wounded in battle, they would be brought there for like an initial triage to stop like life-ending bleeding and that kind of stuff. So we basically went there, and then George and Nancy were like, "Have fun," and they kind of went and sat in the little hallway that was off to the side. So it was just Whitney and I in this little area that had
something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we caught a couple things.
Oh.
These are mostly, so we used the ghost box, which was the little thing it's a little black box that if you tap it, it'll go off and say, something. We used that a couple times. We had the S box, which works like an SB7, that it scans radio frequencies and allows for the white noise for spirits to contact. We had my digital recorder, and then both of our cameras going, and then we used the dowsing rods. So initially, we were just using the spirit box and had our cameras going and stuff. And we were trying to just ask questions because George and Nancy had an S box. And so we were like, oh, that must be useful. Like they must use that on the ship. So we asked initially, did you come into this room for a specific reason? And we got some kind of unintelligible, like there was a response, but it wasn't anything. We asked, is there anybody in here right now? We got back a unintelligible, but Whitney thought in the moment it might say, let's fight. We asked, was that you? If it was you, can you speak again? We got something unintelligible again. And then if there's someone in here or around us, can you knock on something? And it said, you need. And then, and I didn't pull the audio from this because it's just kind of like, we just watched the entire investigation if we pulled audio for all of this. Would you like for us to do the dowsing rods? And what was really weird was Whitney was the one that said this, but I had literally been thinking maybe we should pull out the dowsing rods. And it turns out that the dowsing rods
that's what they do.
We use that the entire rest of the time. And Nancy, I've got a video for the next episode that shows how the dowsing rods, like when Nancy gets a hold of them, those things go crazy. Like,
oh my God, it's
amazing.
Oh God,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. So we pulled out the dowsing rods, and this is where we start getting responses.
Is it because they are used to her?
I think so.
That's what we kind of thought for both of them. It seems like they have quite a connection to this. And like George even talked about, I don't know if you got it in your stuff, but he talked about there was a time they had a like evening event there and they volunteered. It wasn't ghost related whatsoever, but the event was going on. The main part that they were at had cleared out, and it was just like him and then another volunteer. And he heard George, and he was like, hello? And so like they respond to them, they talk to them, like they're
okay. At one point we asked the spirit that we were talking to in the dowsing rods, it's not in this section, do George and Nancy know your name? And it responded yes. So it's
they have a relationship. It's crazy.
Like. And I've got a video that shows the difference between me holding the dowsing rods and Nancy holding them and how they're responding to us. It's drastically different.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I had told Taylor at one point, I was like, it'd be interesting to come back.
Yes.
And see if they're like, oh, it's you two.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this now.
George and Nancy were both like, yes, please come back.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah. So the questions that we asked, is there anybody in here with us right now? We got a response that said yes. And we specified crossing means yes, spread apart means no. Were you aboard the ship when it was active? We got no response. Were you a soldier in the war when the ship was, were you a soldier in a war that the ship was in? Got no response. Were you here when it was part of the training? No response. Are you still here with us? No response. At this point, Whitney had reached forward to do something to my camera or something like that. And when she pulled back and we stopped getting responses, she said, did I interrupt your flow when I touched Taylor? We got no response. And then I said, do you like being aboard the ship? It said, yes. And then we said, are you male? And it said, no response. And then the S-Box said something unintelligible. And then we said, are you female? And it said, no. So we were like, okay, so you're male. Like, I don't know. Okay.
In today's world.
Yeah. So we said, do you stay on this side of the ship? And we got no response. And then it said, or do you go everywhere? And at this point, we got a very strange noise coming through the S-Box.
I remember this.
Yes, that I have recorded. So if you want to put on your headphones, I'll play it for you. So I made sure to get headphones that are all the exact same so that you guys hear exactly what I heard whenever I put this through. Because I noticed last time your headphones weren't actually noise canceling. Your headphones were, you heard something slightly different than.
No, just ignore him.
Yes. You heard something slightly different, like tone-wise, than I was hearing. So another part of this is the recorders that we used were actually good. And thank you for that, because they were the ones that we got for Christmas. It's like silence. And so it's very easy to pick up what I'm hearing. There are a couple in here that you might be like, nah, I didn't hear anything. But I listened to these 5 or 6 times, and the ones that were obvious, I was able to pull out. So this first one is a response from the spirit box after I asked, or do you go everywhere? Or do you go everywhere? Oh, that was weird. That was weird.
Yeah, it was like a weird yell at the time or something.
Yes, yeah, it was something that we got maybe something like that a couple times, but it was a very strange, and considering the area, it's the dressing room where somebody might have been hurt, getting a scream like that's kind of weird. So we were like, well, that was kind of strange. After that, Whitney asked, was that you moaning back here in the sick bay on the gurney? We got no response. I said, are you still here with us? We got no response. Do you keep moaning into the S-Box? No response. And then at this point, I'm like, okay, clearly whatever we were talking to is not here anymore. Yeah. So we just put the dowsing rods away. At this point, we get the S-Box saying what? So here is this. All right. Awesome. It said what? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's very clear that it says what. So
this is all on the recorder you had?
Yes, this was all on my recorder, yes. So that was really the brunt of what we got in that room. And at this point, Whitney and I were still kind of uncomfortable. We hadn't quite fallen into our rhythm on what we wanted to do and what the spirits wanted and that kind of stuff. So we really only spent maybe about 5 minutes in this room, 5-10 minutes.
And it's max. One that we kind of wanted to go back to, but then we forgot.
We totally forgot. So
I mean, we got a lot of shit.
We did, yeah.
It's okay. We can do it again some other time, but
yes. So we definitely, we've got a running list of places that we want to go whenever we go back. So, yeah. So at this point, we are walking towards what's known as the junior officer quarters. And basically, George and Nancy are kind of talking to us as we're moving through these areas. And we're going up the steepest ladders. And, we had already done this for an hour and a half the previous, earlier that day. And so we were redoing it and stuff. And at one point, Whitney had mentioned, I'm going, all the stairs here are just so steep. And George was like, ladders. And she was like, oh, okay. And so
my bad.
At this point, Whitney was kind of teasing, and she was like, we're going up the ladders, not the stairs. And we get a response to that.
Using the ladders, not the stairs. Oh. He goes, right.
Yep.
Right.
He goes, right. Yes, okay, you are correct.
Right.
They're ladders.
I don't know. You didn't hear it?
You didn't hear that? Didn't hear that? Let's play it again.
Using the ladders, not the stairs.
I heard it.
Yeah. So whenever I caught that, that was the very first thing that I heard that was out of the ordinary. And I was like, that is some spirit following us being like, it's freaking ladders, Whitney.
And I'm like, I think We definitely had a friend or something at the time, because I know in the junior officers, I mean, I don't know what all we got, but I know we got stuff.
Yes, we got a lot of stuff in the junior officers. So
this is actually an interesting thing, because this, I think, is the first investigation that we did
present
and both together.
Yes. Yeah. So when we get to the junior officers' quarters, this was an interesting room. Basically, you walk in and there is a series of lockers, and there are these bunk areas where it's four bunks facing each other.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
No, it's 2 and 2. Yeah. The
no. I thought it was 1, 2, 3.
It was just 1 and 2. If it was, it may have been 3. I can look at it, but
I thought it was 3.
Okay. I know the sick bay was 3, because we were like, how the hell did they get on the top bunk?
By a ladder.
No, there's no ladder. But yeah. No,
anyways.
But it's a room that is just for the junior officers, and it's connected to what's known as the forecastle. And I'm guessing that this is just so that they have easy access to get to areas like the bridge and that kind of stuff. So we used the dowsing rods, the S-box, the recorder, our cameras, and then George and Nancy had these little cat balls that are motion activated. So you press a little button and they turn on to, show you that they're on. And then whenever you put them down, they turn off. And when they're moved, they turn back on.
It took me forever to figure out that we were literally talking about
little cat toys.
Cat toys. Not I thought they were CAT balls, and it was some kind of acronym or something. And then after a while it was oh.
No, they're legit cat toys.
Okay.
Yes. I actually ended up buying some. So
of course you did.
I have 6. Well, actually, I have 5 that I know where they are. Jake and Callie have hidden the 6th one from me because I made a mistake.
It's a cat toy or
something. Yeah, it's crazy. Like that. So at this point, we're running both the S-box and the dowsing rods, and Whitney is watching me on the, or you can see me on the S-box and stuff. Not on the S-box, on the cameras. So we ask, is there anyone in here with us? And I say cross means yes, spread apart means no. And the spirit box responds with what? And then whenever the rods cross, the spirit box says, there you go. And I've got that on video here that I can show y'all. All right, so let's see. Is there anyone in here with us? Cross means yes, spread apart means no.
Oh, they said what?
Oh, and
take it off?
No, thank you. Awesome, thank you so much. Can you put it back to neutral? You're almost there. Wonderful, thank you. Were you a junior officer?
See, at the time, I thought they said take it off.
I thought you did. I thought it did too, and that was why I responded, no, thank you, because we thought it said take it off.
It said something else.
It said there you go.
Okay.
Is that not what you heard?
What?
You didn't hear that?
Can we hear it again?
Absolutely, yeah, you can hear it. All right, so let's see. Is there anyone in here with us? Cross means yes, spread apart means no.
Oh, they said what?
Oh, and
take it off?
No, thank you. Awesome, thank you so much. Can you put it back to neutral? You're almost there. Wonderful, thank you. Were you a junior officer?
There you go. See, I thought it said, there you go.
Yeah, it goes, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Like it's confirming that, yes, you did it correctly.
That what isn't like a what? It's a what?
Yeah, it's like, what? What are you trying to get me to do?
But it's a little weird because through it scanning the different frequencies, I feel like you're getting some other sort of interference. You're getting a little music in places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how does what we hear we think is coming from a spirit, not maybe interference from some other, like a radio station.
So we actually run into that at one point. The S-Box is scanning at a frequency of like 220 milliseconds. So for something to last long enough for us to understand what it's saying,
and say, there you go.
It has to span several different radio stations. So basically, it's flipping through different radio frequencies. If we're getting a song from a radio station, you would hear a quick like, blip, 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 but you would not hear a full sentence.
Because you can hear it like,
yeah, you can hear it go,
or something, and that's music from a station, but it's not, you're not hearing Livin' La Vida Loca or anything.
Right. Right.
Which
and
would be weird for ghosts. But
there is one point that I even comment that was radio, and it turns out that wasn't radio.
Okay.
Because you hear something said in it. But it sounded like radio music to me in the time. Mm-hmm. So,
and have you tried slowing down some of the other pops?
No, I haven't tried that. I could though.
The frequency,
yeah.
And try slowing them down to see if that may be something.
Yeah,
because I could see if you slowed it down and it made sense that there would be a what.
Yeah,
that goes with that. Then it would be like, oh, that was just part of a radio station,
right?
Or
yeah, but how it's all jittery, and then you hear
what? Clear what?
Yeah, exactly.
Or there you go.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there you go.
So after that, I ask, were you a junior officer? We get no response. Did you used to stay in this room? No response. Are you from another part of the ship? No response. And then Whitney asks, do you see the light up balls that we put on some of the mattresses? And it says yes. We say, do you think that you could make one of those balls light up? And it says yes. And then we kind of move so that we can see whether one of them goes off. And so I can pull this up for y'all. I actually have this on video of us doing this. Just so that you can see the dowsing rod process and how we were doing all of this. But we do get a couple of weird things through the S-Box at this point. It records in 10-minute increments.
Oh.
My feeling is no, you did not get to take naps. It looks like that's what you're trying to say.
It looks like they're ignoring me.
There they go.
No, okay.
No.
Like, screw you, Whitney.
Completely fair. It makes total sense. All right. Do you have a favorite area on the ship?
Oh,
that was
a weird one.
Yes, you do. Awesome. Can you put it back to neutral? Is it difficult to make the cat balls go off?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Does it require a lot of energy for that kind of activity?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Do you find that you have more energy when there's more people on the ship?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And do you like that people don't come to this part of the ship, but do you like that people are touring the ship and get to learn about the history? Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad. Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything else that you would like to say? Yes. Okay. So what I would like, if you could, we have that instrument in Whitney's hands, and then behind her on the counter there, I have a digital recorder that you're welcome to speak into. It's got a little orange light on it, and if you speak into that, we can hear you. Is there a message that you're trying to get to somebody? Okay. Thank you. Yes, we'd be happy to if you want to tell us where the message needs to go, or just if you need it to be out in the world, you're welcome to use any of the equipment here. Even if you talk into the camera on Whitney's shoulder or the one that's on the counter there, we'll be able to hear it. And we'll do our best to make sure that your message is heard. Is that okay? Okay, great. Glad to hear it. We'll give you a couple seconds or a minute or so to do that, and then we appreciate you talking to us and communicating with us, and if you do manage to get the energy in the next few minutes to make one of those balls light up, that would be awesome.
Okay. I didn't hear anything.
So, you didn't hear anything?
I only heard that one weird thing.
Yeah, there was just that one weird thing.
Oh,
that
okay.
was more
I
just
heard that. Okay.
the responses to the spirit box, or to the.
I gotcha.
Well,
thing.
when you were waiting for them to do something, there was something.
Yeah, so there was, Whitney. Whenever I asked, "Are you over 20 years old?" Whitney saying, "Did you get to take naps?" There was the, "Do you have a favorite area on the ship?" And then we got a weird set of noises through the spirit box. At that point,
that noise at the first, it sounded like an alarm had gone off,
like a wow or something. It was a weird.
But when she says, "Okay, what is it?" You tell them something, and then you kind of wait, and you hear this whoosh or something.
So I heard that too, but I also didn't know if it was me like breathing.
That could be. And there were I had to listen to it several times to make sure I wasn't catching us just breathing in or something like that.
Because that camera sat basically at my shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's right next to my face. So.
Yeah, we had them attached to the straps of our backpacks.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
Because I heard that too, and I was like, I think that was me though. Just taking a breath.
Yeah. There's one point that I say, "Oh, that was radio," and it's actually the S-Box saying something else. That was radio.
Yeah.
Listen to it again.
Yeah.
That was radio.
Yeah. Oh.
It sounded like a female voice to me.
It's a female that says, "Is that fun?"
Yeah.
Or was that fun?
Yeah. Was that fun, or having fun, or something like that? But it definitely has that kind of "Are you doing the thing?" kind of tone to it. But it's definitely female voice. And at the time, I was like, "That's definitely radio," because it sounded like a song to me. But then when I listened back to it, I was like, "No, that's a voice." That's a voice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We didn't. Well, I guess I don't know. I was going to say we didn't really come into a lot of contact with different females. I don't think, but maybe we did. Aside from.
Yeah, we really didn't. Aside from Lisa.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say maybe that was Lisa.
Maybe
Lisa's sassy. We didn't really get that from.
No, we really didn't.
Nancy and George, but.
Yeah. Also, during this particular time period, we put the dowsing rods down, and we're just observing at this point. And this is I'm talking, there's a very breathy sound over my voice during this. So just kind of listen to what I'm saying, but listen beyond that.
Okay.
Just like that. You don't have to use a lot of energy. If you just want to even tap it, it will let the wall light up. Just like that. You don't have to use a lot of energy. If you just want to even tap it, it will let the wall light up.
Right there at the end?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. You don't have to use a lot of energy. If you just want to even tap it, it will let the wall light up.
See, I think I hear something when you're saying you just want to tap it.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
it's just, you just want to tap it, and then there's something that's like up above what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, I feel like it's just the
that could
spirit
be.
box.
Yeah.
That could be, and that's kind of I get real frustrated whenever we were going through this, when the spirit box was just running and we were hearing stuff. Like, here in just a second, what I'm going to talk about, you've got the spirit box running, but we're talking about what's happening around us, and I'm like, I can't hear it because the spirit box is going.
Like,
And
in the moment, you couldn't hear it?
No, while I'm trying to listen after the fact. So I think we need to limit how we use the spirit box to, we are intentionally just using the spirit box.
We are asking questions.
Yeah, but not just
like
walking
observing.
around with it.
Yeah,
exactly. So so that leads me to my next thing. After about 2 minutes go by, there starts to be this knocking that occurs around the room. And this is picked up on Whitney's camera.
But do you hear what I say first?
What you say first?
So at one point, while we're in there, I was talking to one of the spirits out loud, like, "Are you a jokester?" And then I was like, "Tell me a knock-knock joke."
You said that during
this?
Yeah. No, earlier, whenever we were doing the thing, and you were like, "Oh, are you a jokester? I like knock-knock jokes."
That if you played it for us, we didn't hear it.
We didn't hear that.
I apparently don't remember what I actually pulled, because that makes sense. But no, at one point you do say, I like knock-knock jokes. And
when we talked about it whenever we came home later, I was like, I did ask for a knock-knock joke, and we did get knocks.
Yeah.
So
initially there will be a period where you hear the spirit box, and it goes for a while. I was so frustrated when I was going through this, because it was like, just turn the friggin' spirit box off, Whitney. But it's in.
I was saying, luckily we stopped using it.
We did, yeah. We used it up until the sick bay, but even we stopped using it just randomly right around when we got to the locks, and we'll talk about the locks here in just a second. But so here, this is actually a video.
Something knocked. Something knocked. It's above? On the door? Do you keep knocking on the door?
If that was you, can you knock again?
Am I stepping on it?
You are not moving when that happened.
Do y'all get...
Like, you're hearing that, right? You're hearing tuk 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 tuk.
Do y'all get light anomalies? I just saw, I've not seen it.
You started talking about light anomalies?
Yeah, I'm going to show that in just a second.
Oh,
so, could y'all hear the knocking?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
barely. I remember hearing it whenever I was there.
Yes.
Because the way that it was set up, I was right next to the lockers, and I was like, I can't tell, because George had mentioned, and we talked about how thin the flooring is, and the walls and that kind of stuff. There's some spots where it's like a loose board almost. And so I was like, I wonder, and that we came across it at one point in the sick bay. I walked and I heard the blockers next to me like chunk, and I was like, oh shit. And I stepped again, and I was like, okay, that was the floor.
Yeah.
And so I kept trying to walk to see if I could do it again, but it was going on anyways, like without me, like me trying to debunk it, but also at the same time, like in the middle of me trying to debunk it, it was happening up and away from us. It was
at
weird.
this
Right,
point
exactly.
that you just showed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mentioned a light anomaly, and this was because as I was looking through my screen, I saw what, you know how we feel about dusts and orbs and that kind of thing. And this could very well be some dust, but if you've noticed through all of the footage that we've done so far, there has not been a single dust particle that we've seen. So that was why I brought this up. So here is the video of that.
Am I stepping on it?
Yeah, so
Can you do it again?
Am I stepping on it?
Yeah, that comes across there.
I feel like there was two. There was one over here in the mirror,
and then one over.
Or was it the same one in the mirror?
Yeah.
Do orbs reflect?
I have no idea. But that was...
But no, there's not been any...
Yeah, there's not been any dust or anything. And so I was like, that is strange enough that I feel the need to...
Mark it,
yeah.
Huh. That was the only time you mentioned if you saw him. Other than that, I'd like...
There's one other time.
Oh, okay.
Does it also go up my butt?
No.
Okay.
This one isn't even near you.
Okay.
But we won't see it until next time.
God damn it.
So at this moment, I also catch something on my recorder, and it's only on my recorder. So here we go.
Light anomalies?
I'm sorry.
Do y'all get light anomalies?
What did that say?
Listen to it again.
Light anomalies?
I'm sorry.
Do y'all get light anomalies?
It's just really brief. I can hear somebody.
He goes,
something.
2 words.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
I hear I'm saying.
You hear what?
I'm saying. Because I heard 2 words too. Like somebody being like, you know what I'm saying? Kind of thing.
Oh, see, to me, it sounds like it's in response to me going, it's going, and I hear, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, let
Maybe
me hear it.
Listen to it again.
Because I didn't listen to what you said at all. I just...
Light anomalies?
I'm sorry.
Do y'all get light anomalies?
I'm saying.
I still just hear, yeah.
Okay. I mean, and again, it could be the suggestion that I said what I think it says, and now
Sure.
that's what you hear. So, but
What do you think?
There's a chut in there. There's.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's why I think it's a yeah, just because it's like a yeah.
It doesn't sound like a yeah. It's
See, to me, it's
there's
a
2
two.
syllables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 syllables?
If you hear anything different than what we're hearing, let us know. So, we also get a really strange whispery noise that comes on a couple minutes after we're trying to debunk the knocking noises. So here's that.
Yeah. Sure.
Is the man talking?
I was like, I think it's just George.
Is because I couldn't tell with.
Because I think he's telling me, like, yeah, if you want to go upstairs, then we can go upstairs.
Okay,
like,
that could be. And it's difficult. I tried to pair this with the video, but lots of times the way that, with how tall he was and where your camera was placed, I couldn't see from here up. So I was I hope this is what I'm getting.
I feel like George and I just, like, talked a lot with looks, though. Like, half the time we just would look at each other and he'd be like, uh-huh. And I'd be like, okay. Like, that was... Maybe, George, if you listen, was that you or was it a ghost?
Yeah, and George and Nancy, if you hear something that can be explained, please let us know, because
for sure.
I'm going to tell y'all that we're recording this, so just let us know if you hear something and you're like, oh no, that's actually this, because that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So one thing that we do notice, and we caught this only on your camera, was there is a very quick voice, and George reacts to it. And he's the only one that seems to notice that this happens, but it's not on my recorder, it's not on my camera, and it's just right. So it must have been between y'all or right there. So
like, I didn't react to it?
You didn't react to it. This is a video.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
just a real quick, very, very soft. But George, the second that he looks, and he kind of looks at you like,
Did you hear
did
that?
you hear that? But you didn't. You were either not looking at him or you didn't respond to him.
I didn't.
I mean,
hear
I
anything.
may have just
I heard
yeah.
something.
face
It could be. It
face
could very well
looked
be.
at him.
It's
Did
super
you wanna-
quick. You can't.
You want to listen to it again? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like a squeak. Like it's
Yeah.
not a squeak, but it's a squeak. Like it's one of those, if you weren't listening,
You wouldn't think anything of
yeah,
it.
you wouldn't.
Mhm.
Because it just, to me, it sounds like a little, "Oh," and that's it.
Yeah, and that's initially, I probably wouldn't have thought anything about it, but I thought it was strange that George looked at you. And I was like, well, then clearly that's not, he's reacting in a way that tells me that that's not something happening in a normal
That he
moment.
expected. Yeah.
So, and that was actually really helpful, was George and Nancy's reactions to things telling me that this is something either they typically experience or something that isn't normal for them to experience on the ship.
Or
So-
just,
So that time around, I heard "I hope."
Okay. I heard hello. That's what I thought it said.
I didn't
but
hear, I heard just a,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah. So at this point, George is asking us, do we want to go on ahead and move up to the area above the junior officers' quarters? Because that's where we think the knocking is coming from. And we head up there. At this point, we're like, we're not going to mess with the dowsing rods or anything like that. We're just S-Box recorders and cameras. Whitney's up there, and she says, I think I heard somebody moving around up here, and there is a loud, unexplained knock that happens when she says that.
We all heard.
We all heard it, yes.
And I followed it.
Yes. Yeah, she mentions it. She's like, did y'all hear that knock? And I was like, I heard it, but I thought you knocked on something. So here it is.
And you figure in World War II there was no air conditioning.
Yeah.
She's hot.
Yes.
Did y'all hear that?
Was it like a scraping sound?
No, it was like
Oh, I did hear that, but I thought it was someone hitting something.
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it? Listen to it again.
No, I heard it.
and you figure in World War II there was no air conditioning.
Yeah.
She's hot.
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I was like, how did you miss that?
So
But was it somebody else talking, or wasn't there
yeah.
a whisper after somebody said something about the air conditioning?
Nancy was kind of talking.
Gotcha.
They were
Yeah.
saying
Okay.
that there was no AC on the ship in World War II, and then I think Taylor said yeah, and then she was like, "It's hot,"
Yeah,
hot.
it's hot.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so that's kind of.
and then you hear a
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was prompted to ask George, does the ship make sounds of settling? Because you know how the house will pop,
Right.
or, just temperature differences. At this point, we're going from 6 p.m. It was about 7 p.m. at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was weird because I followed that thing outside.
she did, yeah.
I followed whatever noise I thought I heard outside, and I expected it to be like dark. And
it was
walk
bright.
out, and it's bright outside. There's fucking seagulls. There's people on the beach out there. Like you
a whole
can't
different
hear.
world.
But I just was like, oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was very strange. And George said no, the ship does not settle. And as a matter of fact, I was talking to Divya about this and kind of telling him about the stuff we were getting. And he was like, well, that's just ship settling. And I was like, George, I specifically asked that question because you and I think very alike.
Uh-huh.
He said, this ship has been docked here and moored here for 30 years. It doesn't move. We are in an interior kind of section. It's not going to have those temperature change settling. You're not going to, metal contracting and expanding. At that point, it was still hot outside. So you're not going to hear a popping of metal contracting.
yeah.
He was like, you just don't get that on this ship.
And there
So-
were times throughout that I was like, is that a normal noise that you guys hear? Like, is it, because now there is AC
Yeah.
on the ship. And so I'm like, was that the AC kicking on and blowing up, or was it the waves or something? Because there was a point whenever we were in, I think, the brig.
We heard
where
running water.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't tell if it's like dripping or if it's waves or if it's just running water. And he was like, no, that's normal. That is, I think, the waves.
Yeah.
Was what we were hearing.
Yeah,
So
so, and basically anytime we heard something that we were like, is that normal? They would confirm, yes, that's either something that happens all the time, or no, that's not something the ship would do naturally.
So that's why it was really cool getting to hang out with them, because they're on there
all the time.
What, 3-4 days a week? I think?
She said that. I want to say Nancy said they ghost hunt out there like 2 days a week, or they used to. I think recently they've kind of stopped, but they were like, yeah, we do tours 2 days a week, and
I thought
we're out there. We're volunteering, 2 to 4 days a week, because they're both retired, and that's just what they do.
Oh, okay.
So they know
the ship. Sure. Yeah. At this point, I ask the spirit to knock or something, or tap on something if it's there, and just take a listen.
If you are making noises, can you knock on something again or tap something?
Hear a tap thud.
Yep. So I asked for something to knock, and it knocked.
Yeah.
So that was just I didn't catch that in real time.
Oh, okay.
And going back and hearing it, I was like, oh, it actually responded to me. I didn't realize that. So
look at that.
Now, this is one that it would not surprise me in the very least if you don't hear this. But it's something that I hear whenever I'm listening to this, and then I acknowledge that I'm hearing it. But it's so faint. So we'll see if y'all hear it.
You're acknowledging it on the
recording.
On the recording.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it whispering?
Yeah, it was whispering. I heard it.
I heard.
And I remember you asking.
I asked at one point, is somebody whispering?
Because it's not just it's like someone is having a full conversation with you.
Yeah. And I just, was someone whispering? And then at one point,
and it sounds like a woman.
Yes. George and Whitney kind of wander off towards where you can get outside. And I asked them, or he was whispering to Whitney about something. And I was like, that's what it sounded like. And he was like, oh, I didn't hear it. No one else heard it. But I could hear somebody standing, like, just right here talking to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it whispering?
Just very strange that...
Yeah. You can't understand.
I don't know what it's saying, yeah.
Also, just a side note, it sounds like me, not you.
Really?
Yeah.
That you're the one that's like, is someone whispering?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know why, but it doesn't sound like your voice.
Huh, weird.
So.
Okay. So, at this point, Whitney is going towards the port side of the berth. This is called a berthing area. This is where the soldiers would have basically bunked for the night.
Oh, okay.
And you'll see a video of it here in just a second. But Whitney goes directly outside. Whitney and George go outside. Nancy's hanging back in the berthing area, just kind of walking around. And I'm going between the storage area. There's the outside, a storage area, and the berthing area. And I'm walking around the storage area. And at one point, I come back to the entrance of the berthing area, and I see something. I don't have a video of it.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was excited.
A shadow. If this is... So imagine this door right here. I'm pointing to a door in our area. Imagine this door right here. Mm-hmm. I see a shadow come around the corner, like duck around the corner, like it's leaving.
Okay.
And I thought for sure I caught that on camera, but there's nothing there. So I don't know if it was my mind playing tricks on me, or if I legitimately saw something, or if it was something that only I saw, or what. Because there's instances.
Did we talk about this?
I think we did.
We talked about...
I mentioned it.
You mentioned it, but I don't know, because when we were in the brig, I thought I saw someone walk into one of the cells.
And George ends up mentioned
that too.
Yeah. So it could very well be that I didn't actually see anything. I could be gaslighting myself and saying that I didn't actually see anything, but there's nothing on my video that shows that. So... But it was enough that I walked over with my camera and was like, did I just see you come in here? Like, I saw a black mass move in there. So unfortunately, there's no video evidence of it. So it could very well be that I didn't actually see anything. But I even put in my notes, not caught on camera, but I swear I saw it. So at this point, we all kind of come in, and Nancy's messing with one of the bunks, and she's like, come look at this storage thing. This is what they actually stored their stuff in. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And at this point, I've got something that pops up, and not visually, but I've got the visual of it too. But listen to her and I talking on this.
And then you have like one in drawer too.
That's really cool.
I'll play it again because I'm sure you guys are like, I didn't hear anything.
And then you have like one in drawer too.
That's really cool.
What's the
Something
man?
dibs or
It is, or
Yeah. So there's a voice as Nancy's telling me about this, like, you know, and I say, oh, that's real cool. And then there's
It's
something
them.
that talks
Yeah.
over me during that.
yeah,
Because
it's
for a
like
second-
between you guys.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, well, maybe me and George were near you guys,
Mm-mm.
but we were.
You hadn't come in yet because
Yeah,
she
I was
ends
like,
up
we were still on
repeating
the
it
other side.
to them. And so I've got the video of this interaction that you can actually hear it a little louder because I initially didn't hear it on my recorder. I heard it on the video. And then when I went back and listened to the recorder, I was like, oh, it's actually there. So
Oh,
you say like, that's really cool, and
then you
I hear something say it is.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
And then they have like one in drawer too.
That's really cool.
oh yeah.
It says like, open the drawer or something. I hear drawer.
I just hear it is.
Yeah, I couldn't
I hear-
hear
I
what
hear
it said.
Oh, open the drawer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like,
watch
and
it.
it's a man.
Okay.
It's not Nancy saying.
Mm-mm.
And I heard that on your recorder one too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
And then they have like one in drawer too.
That's really cool.
So I had it backwards. That happened before you said that's really cool.
Oh, that you get the
Yeah.
EVP? Yeah.
It's not after.
Maybe there's two. I only
Maybe.
hear the one that he's talking about.
I hear the open the drawer.
Interesting. So
Or maybe he's offended and he's like, she opened my drawer.
maybe.
Like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Keep your nose on my stuff.
Yeah. So at this point, basically, George and Nancy have told us that we have free run of the ship. We can go wherever we want to. This is not an area that people are typically allowed. Only the people that do this ghost hunting tour can go here. So, so it's not been renovated. I mean, it has AC in it and that kind of stuff, but it's not like fancy and stuff. So we decided at this point to go down to the forecastle, and we really went there because we didn't go there during the tour. We had seen it, but for some reason we were like, we're not going to go there. I think we got distracted.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it was that we thought that we had made it.
Because
we were trying to go to see it, and we ended up somewhere else, but we didn't actually see it.
Yeah. So we went down there. It was just our recorders and our cameras because we weren't planning on doing anything down there. And then Nancy at some point pulled out her K2 meter. So she's got the electromagnetic readings. Okay. At this point, George we went up to see the emergency bridge, which was outfitted. So a movie was actually filmed on the USS Lexington. Oh. And this emergency bridge was created for if the bridge ever got damaged in a way that they needed to still have operations, but they couldn't get to the regular bridge or it was non-functional. They had outfitted this for a movie that dealt with the Japanese war. And so it was actually outfitted for the Japanese side, and it had all of the Japanese characters and stuff still on. They just never removed them. Oh, wow. So it was kind of surreal going in there and Whitney was like, what are these? Them? Oh, yeah, Japanese.
I was like, what is this?
And then at one point, we mentioned like, well, what's off in this direction? And Whitney, at this point, she had asked 3 or 4 times, can we go there? And George was like, yes. Like he didn't say it like that, like he was annoyed, but we had already been told many times, if you want to go there, you can go there. Like, you don't have to keep asking.
There were still parts of the ship that we weren't allowed to go to.
Sure.
Like, the torpedo thing. So I feel it's still appropriate to be like,
okay,
is it okay if we go there? Like,
but he at this point, he was like, sure. And I was like, she's just a very awkward individual.
Wow.
He started laughing.
Oh, harsh.
Wow.
I think I wanted to say fuck you then, but I was like, no.
We
we're
had
not
been
gonna
so
cuss.
good.
Yeah, we're good. And then apparently
We ended up cussing a couple times, yeah.
Yeah,
We weren't
apparently
as bad as we normally are, though.
No, we were pretty tame, but Taylor said as she was going through everything, she was like, we said shit and fuck quite a bit. No,
We said it for a few times, yeah. Quite a few times.
Whoopsies.
Most of it was under our breath and quiet, but like there was one
like
time.
a reaction to
yeah,
something. And we're like, oh,
in the sick
I know
bay.
I said, oh shit, a lot.
In the sick bay, I turned around and saw my own reflection and thought it was something, and I was like, oh, fuck. So, yeah.
Scared yourself.
Scared me so bad. I had an anxiety like response to it. I thought it was the thing. So we're going up. We go up into this little rope area that it's really low ceiling. And so Whitney was like, I'm not going back there. And I was like, I'll go back there. And I crouched down and I went back there, but it's low the entire way.
Yeah.
And I got through this by telling myself, you're up for anything today. If you're going into a tight space, you're going into a tight space. If you're going down a ladder, you're going down a ladder.
I was like, can we go back there? And he was like, yeah. And then I went back there and I was like, well, this was nice. And then I was like, look at Steve. I was like, I'm not going back the rest of the way. And Taylor was like, I'm going.
Yeah, I was like, here we go.
What's back? What's that?
It was just a rope holding area.
Oh,
so there was a little, like the big ropes, like the ones that are like this big around.
Okay.
So, but there was another little compartment, but it looked like it hadn't been restored or something, or if it had been restored, definitely nobody had been in there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not going to try to go in there. But at one point we were standing there and we're looking at, I was like, is this a cross through? Because it's this oval shaped hole.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's only like this thick.
It's tiny.
And he was like, well, the average sailor is, what did he say, 6'2"?
6'2".
I think he said it was 6. He said the average sailor back then was 5'8", because we were like, oh, they're almost your height.
Oh, yeah. I was
and
like,
then,
oh, look at me.
Yeah, he was like in like 160 pounds. And I was like,
not look at me.
I'm like twice that. Okay. So as we're coming back from that, Nancy just stayed down and she had pulled out her K2. And George mentions maybe we could go to the wardroom. And at this point, the K2 starts going off like crazy. She was like, it had been quiet up to that point, and then the second you mentioned in the wardroom, it went to red. And so she asks again, should we go to the wardroom? And it responds by going to red again. And I've got the video of that.
And what does red mean?
Red means a very high electromagnetic pulse, basically. So they take that to mean, that a spirit can actually generate different colors by getting closer to the device. So we're basically saying, do you want us to go to the wardroom? And it's touching the device to tell us, yes, that's what I want you to do.
Yeah. Or it could be saying no and meaning to stay away.
That could be, but Nancy and George both took that as a yes, because they, do you want us to go to the wardroom? And then it did it, and they were like, okay, let's go then. Okay. So
I probably would have been, hey, I'm out.
I'm out, bye. So. And it went off.
Should we go to the wardroom?
Oh.
Is that a no?
It said,
No, I think it was, because it kept going up when we said wardroom.
Okay.
Oh, it just...
Yep, there it went. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, sounds good to me. Let's go.
I think they want us to go to the wardroom.
Can't really see the colors on
that's...
the video.
That was another thing that really pissed me off while I was doing this, was I was like, just stay still. Like, wanting to, like... I don't know if we need stabilizers or something, but it was just like, dang, just stay still for a second so I can see this. It was also
the fact that it was like on our shoulder strap, like you're breathing, you're talking, like if I just kind of move my head, like the body slightly goes with it, like So, we are leaving the forecastle to go to the wardroom, and at one point we're talking about a man that used to volunteer on the ship, and I think his name was Rob Patterson. Does that like ring a bell to you? I think so. I think it, because they called him Bob.
Yeah, they called him Bob. So they were talking about he volunteered until he died, basically. He was 86 years old volunteering, and George told us a story about him being like, well, I'll walk you down to your car and stuff. And they get down to the car, and he's like, do you have somebody to pick you up or something? And Bob was like, no, this is me. And he gets into this massive truck and like climbs himself up in it and stuff. And at this point, I get something on my recorder only, and I have no idea what it says, but take a listen.
Volunteered on the ship.
Oh, wow.
Even when he was, I don't know when he's... No, that does move Nancy.
Okay, sounds like a wow.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what it says.
I hear a man going, wow.
Yeah. So About 2 minutes after that, I get something else that's only on my recorder. So here is that.
Can I still say that?
Oh. At first I thought it was George, but then you hear George talk.
It's like a wow.
That's not what I hear, but listen again. Let's okay.
Can I still say that?
It's like moving on. Or
Okay.
Are you
something.
talking about? So I just hear somebody go, wow.
Okay.
He's a kitty cat.
I hear two words. And it's a whispery voice, and I think it says help me.
Oh, see,
When George is in there talking, or because what I hear is before George says anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
hear,
before he says something. Yeah.
and so I don't know if it'll come across like in the episode as far as like people at home listening. The voice is on the left side. It comes in through left audio, and George's comes in through the right audio.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I hear it in my left ear versus right.
Okay. Interesting. So one more time.
Can I still say that?
I still hear wow.
I hear moving on.
Okay. So at this point, we decide that we're going to go to the wardroom, but we decide that we're going to. I noticed that Nancy was using GhostTube on her cell phone, and I was like, "Oh, you guys use that?" Because I had downloaded it and was like, "This is some hokey app and stuff." And the more I used it, I was like, "Actually, this seems to be working the way it's supposed to work," because it has an SLS cam. It's got the like a ghost box kind of thing. It's got a what else? Like an S box kind of thing. It's got a couple different things, an obelisk kind of setting. So I was like, well, I kind of want to download that again because I had a subscription to it, and then I got rid of it. And then I was like, well, if you guys use it, then I'm more inclined to use it. So we were like, okay, well, let's go back to the volunteer area so that I can sit and download that. We can take a little break and stuff. And on the way back over there, they were like, ooh, let's take them by the locks. And we were like, okay. And so we went by the locks, and it's literally what it sounds like. They are key locks that are the big deadbolt kind that are on these doors to keep them shut. And I'm going to preface this, we had our recorders, the S-Box, our camera phones at this point because both of our cameras had died. And this was whenever we realized, ooh, we need a lot more, battery. So
that you don't want to drop on your foot.
Yeah, that you don't want to drop on your foot because it will sprain your foot, you guys. So something to preface this. George and Nancy said that this doesn't happen all the time. It only happens every once in a while, and it always happens when they're on the ship.
And they said, well, no, they said that they've taken people by.
And it hasn't done that. That's right.
It hasn't done it. So it's not always whenever they're on the ship. But
that's true.
It happens.
But they said that it happens more frequently when they're on the ship because somebody said that they saw the locks moving and they were like, oh, George and Nancy must be here.
Oh. Yeah.
And they came down and they were there volunteering. So there are no drafts in these rooms. There's no drafts outside of the rooms. These are heavy key locks. And I have a video of all of the cell phone footage we took from this. So one is going to be from my perspective, and then it's going to flip to Whitney's perspective.
Okay.
So this was just a really weird kind of phenomenon that in any other situation, you'd be like, well, clearly something's vibrating that to cause that. But whenever you start looking at it, you realize, this ship is moored to the dock. It can't move. So
you can put your hand on the door to feel if there's any vibration.
What? The whole door is moving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an airflow coming out from the vents?
No.
Wow. This one's moving more now too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to crawl this thing in his face. Oh.
Can you wiggle the door again? If you're moving that lock, can you make it swing the other way? Is that you? What? Was that you? Did you make a thumping noise?
No, the door.
The door
hit
made
the
noise?
latch.
Oh wow, okay.
Can you say something to me? Was this your quarters?
That's crazy. And that requires quite a bit of...
We've stood here blowing on it, jumping up and down,
Yeah, that was...
pounding on the sides.
And it doesn't do it.
No, it doesn't do
Weird.
that. But the funny thing is that if you would think that there would be a steady airflow or air conditioning, it would not stop.
Right, yeah, but the fact that
They
it
would go to a
stops.
dead stop.
Yes.
No pun intended.
Classic. Interesting.
This door just keeps going. Like it had almost stopped and then it went doo, 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 and that's when you asked me if I did that.
Can you move the door again?
There's no air in it.
Wow, now it's really
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah.
And that does not happen too often.
Really?
Wow. So who are you?
That's crazy. Yep, there goes the door. Get up to it again. Oh. Are you trying to get into your room?
Or get out of your room?
Step back to show that there's nothing actually touching this. Huh. That is amazing.
And it's not, the ship isn't moving.
Right.
So,
Right. Wow, that is cool.
but it's not this door.
No.
So that was from my perspective. This is from Whitney's perspective.
I feel like I was having a very chaotic moment.
You were.
You were what?
You were.
A very chaotic moment.
Boy, you can really, when the lock part, not the swingy lock, but the other one that moves. That's So this is from Whitney's perspective?
Oh, yes, it is.
They're both moving.
Both of them are sealed. There's no air conditioning inside. You can feel that's a draft from the outside.
Can you wiggle the door again?
Oh, so
Apparently, I was watching it more in real life than I was recording. So I was like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to these locks, we're talking about the locks, and I catch something on my recorder that's only on my recorder. So
Doesn't do it.
No, it doesn't do that. But the funny thing is that
Like a breath.
yeah, it's like a breath or a hiss or something that, yeah. So here it is again.
Doesn't do it.
no, it doesn't do that. But the funny thing is that
It's a hiss.
It's a hiss. I
It's
thought
like
it was a
cat
hiss.
But it sounds
hissing.
like
Sounds like
George is taking a breath before he speaks.
But it's
Or
like
he's
in the middle of him
moving.
speaking.
yeah,
And yeah, it moves.
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Okay.
very strange.
Do it one more time.
Okay.
Doesn't do it.
no, it doesn't do that. But the funny thing is that
Yeah, it does.
It was very. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh no!" So at one point, Whitney asks, "So who are you?" And we get a response that is only on my recorder.
So, who are you?
You don't hear anything?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I just hear the stupid.
There's something in the background about just in between the frequency changes on the
Yes.
static.
So, who are you?
you don't hear that?
If I hear anything, it's like a, and that's it.
Okay. I hear 2 syllables.
I think I hear Frank.
Frank, okay. Interesting. What do you think you heard?
I don't hear anything intelligible. I just, to me anyway.
Okay. I hear Terry.
Terry?
I hear a hard T, and that's what I think I hear. So I'll play it again.
So, who are you? Oh, now I can hear
Now
it.
you can
Yeah,
hear
I'm
it.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
it's like-
Power suggestion.
I
Yeah,
think-
exactly.
It's the part that I hear the for, and now
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I could hear Terry.
Right. So, but again, that was only on my recorder. No, it didn't happen on anybody else's. So at this point, we decided to go on ahead and continue back to the volunteer room.
So,
And
what, the doors that are locked, what is in there?
they were like quarters for like officers or
Yeah.
something like that, or like offices. But he said that they're always locked. Nobody.
They've even had to change those locks.
Yes.
And they still do them. So it's not that it's those locks and they're like, ooh, fancy, and like we've made them do this. Like they put in random locks, and as you walk through, there's a bunch of rooms that are locked up.
And they
Because,
don't
like,
do that.
Yeah, and they don't
Yeah.
do it. It's only those.
Interesting.
So at this point, we go back to the volunteer room, but we're still investigating, even though we're relaxing. And George and Nancy pull out their REM pod and their K2. And then I pull out the Mel meter that has the REM function on it, the recorder, our cell phone cameras, and dowsing rods. Because at this point, I'm trying to get my GhostTube app to redo. So they mentioned that the volunteer room gets a lot of stuff as well. So we were like, well, shoot, we'll just pull our stuff out and do this here. And Whitney pulls out the dowsing rods to talk to, to ask questions and stuff. So we're talking about going to the wardroom in the brig. And while we're talking about this, the rods cross like, yes, go there.
Okay.
So I've got that on video. Yeah, we could do dowsing rods.
that.
So from here we'll go to the wardroom, and
Okay.
then we're not too far from the brig. We can throw maybe more rewind, backtrack down that way, and actually that will take us to
Just immediate yes. All the yeses. Can you put that back to neutral for us?
Did they say yes to everything?
We got a couple no's.
Oh, where do you want to have it? Where do they that first?
Well, y'all were talking about the war room and it said yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you yes? Oh, you already saw the locks. Yes, the folks told me.
So there's another video coming up.
Okay.
But I need my notes to see what the next video is. So So yeah, she asks, we're talking about the wardroom. And then while we're talking about this, there is a very quiet sound that comes through only on my recorder. So here's that.
Agree with the word. Just immediate yes. All the yeses.
I'll play it again.
Agree with the word. Just immediate yes. All the yeses.
It was like a
whoop. Yeah, there's just a real quick little. Yeah. You want me to play it again? No. Okay.
What's the first part that's going, whoa?
I don't know. I don't remember what it sounds like.
It's one of us. I'm not sure.
Just making noise.
It's one of us whenever the dowsing rods start to do stuff. We're really bad about being like, oh.
Okay. So that was
me. Yeah. It's happening. So she starts talking, Nancy starts talking about how they became part of the team. And at this point, the dowsing rods respond to it, and so does the millimeter. So here is.
Who becomes part of the team?
Nancy and George, how they became part of the ghost hunting team at the.
Oh, okay.
That's crazy, yeah.
Even when it's been wind outside, nothing.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
The locks, when we came on a tour here, and that's how we ended up becoming part of the team and everything and that. And it was my daughter, my niece, and the two of us.
He confirms that's what happens.
Yes. And what happened was the first door, they've since reset it. It was going boom, 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 boom. I mean, literally.
Wow.
And then the lock, that's when the lock was going to.
So the dowsing rods crossing being like, yes, and then me saying that, it's confirming that, and then the millimeter going off was just a really strange series of events.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're talking about how Whitney would smell perfume when Stephanie would come around. Because at this point, we're just sharing stories about how we got into paranormal and the stuff that's happened to us. And there's a strange kind of noise that comes through only on my recorder.
What's wrong with your recorder?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Did I have my recorder on at that time?
No, you turned yours on whenever we got to the Naval Museum. So I was the only one that had a recorder on. But neither of our cameras were catching it either. So
in my house, and I don't wear perfume.
Any kind of scent that you know, like an older scent.
It happens twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
like a whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So here it is again.
In my house, and I don't wear perfume.
Any kind of scent that you know, like an older scent.
Yeah, it's like literally like ghosty noises. Like,
Stephanie's like, "Oh, this is my chance."
Exactly. So we start talking about the clock on the wall and the dowsing rods cross while we're talking about those. And then
my clock?
Yeah, the clock on the And then I ask at one point if Stephanie's here with us and the rods cross again. So I'll show you both of those videos.
So maybe that was Stephanie. And she was like, I made an appearance.
It could be. Who knows?
There's some ghosts. And I would just be like, okay, Stephanie, that's fine. But I had a clock that was on my wall, and she had come down to stay with me.
We're telling the clock story, Stephanie? Can you put it back to neutral?
But I woke up and I had a box that had a bunch of crochet stuff in it. And whenever we woke up, that clock was dead center on that crochet box.
And it had a glass face on it. And it was one of the eye hook or the key hooks where you set it down, and the nail was still in the wall.
I need to get up, Stephanie. Dang. So she got it too, but
we asked her if the reason that she's attached to Whitney is she protecting her, and she said yes. So Stephanie, are you here with us? There she is.
Are you here but not here?
Only one.
She's like, I'm on break. Can you put it back?
We have noticed Stephanie has a hard time putting them back. So
Well, she's watching us. Maybe she's looking at what time it was. That's why stupid clock up. Well, you don't need that now.
She's like,
Right.
I'm here now. You don't need this.
That is neat.
That's how you move your hand.
Yeah, I moved the hand at the end because it wasn't going back to neutral.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
I put it,
Yeah,
put
we
it
got
back.
we got to where we were just having to put it back to neutral because as we're going through this, it's very difficult for them to use energy on the dowsing rods. Okay, so we have a few more videos, and then here are the next few volunteer lounge videos. So there is something that is only found on caught on my phone. There's a voice or a whisper that I catch that's only on my phone after I say the word currently. This is one that it wouldn't surprise me if y'all don't hear it, because whenever I went and listened to it again, I was like, I'm not 100% that's there. So just let me know. But I'm going to have 3 rapid fire in a row that shows how the K2 and the millimeter were going off while we were talking. So, but I'm not going to show all of it right now. So, so this first one is going to be an EVP that only shows up on my camera.
Okay.
And then right after that is going to be another, the millimeter and all of that going off. I've had experiences all through college and to current, but up until about 2013.
And this, you know, we were living there for 4 times.
We lived there 19 years.
19 years, yeah. But there was one morning that I woke up, not one morning, probably during the night, and we had a large window and light was shining through and the moonlight and all that. And as I'm waking up, I see right by like the bathroom door this shadow figure. So I'm thinking I'm probably still sleeping, and I'm like, that's it. I got up and actually I lunged towards it, and it went like this and disappeared.
Oh,
like
dang.
I scared it.
Wow.
Never saw it again after that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was probably,
Who's scared who?
I was probably dreaming it,
Yeah,
but
you don't know.
that was kind of odd. You
Yeah.
know, like, I was dreaming that,
Maybe
But I
not.
just said, I'm not going to let that thing stand.
So both of you then still have. How about your mom and dad? Do they?
Yes.
So
They both.
So what does the light ups over there mean?
The one on the K2 meter is going to be a proximity that the higher the redder the lights get, the more electromagnetic frequency is there, which is supposedly a spirit coming by close to it. And the same is true of the REM pod function on the millimeter. Those lights only change if something gets very close to it. And I have video of Nancy going and putting her hand to it to see how close you have to get it to go off. And it's like you almost have to have your hand right next to it.
And
So,
what do the different numbers mean?
the different numbers is the level of electromagnetic frequency that you're getting. So the higher the number, the higher the electromagnetic frequency.
Oh, okay.
And you had mentioned in the beginning of the one that I was like, this is the EVP, that you were like, oh, I hear it. And then the next one started. So I'll replay that so you can hear it.
Oh,
Okay. I've had experiences all through college and to current, but up until about 2013.
like a whistle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing like super crazy. It's just there's something there that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So,
It almost like you could even say it's, I mean, if you were to try to debunk it, like just an electronic
it could be. Yeah. Yeah, it could be. So the next one, we were talking about how y'all managed to get a new house and that the floor plan is basically flip-flop of what the previous floor plan was. And you hear something almost respond to that. So here's that.
Same builder. I mean,
Yeah.
Built it, but
Just in a different area.
Yeah, like they
Houston.
flipped.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was, and my mom and
What was that? Do that again?
No, let me.
Same builder. I mean,
Yeah.
Built it, but
just in a different area.
Yeah, like they
Houston.
flipped.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it was, and my mom and
What's it?
yeah, it's like a ha or like a ha.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
How weird.
That's weird. So, and then we leave to make our way to the wardroom, and on our way off, the K2 and the millimeter are going off at the same time. I also catch something on just my recorder.
We could try that down in the wardroom.
Sure, that'd be great.
Cool. Oh, see? Okay.
It says, let's go.
Let's do the wardroom.
Yeah, you mentioned this one to me because it says, okay.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't know if that was me. I don't know if that was you. Because we both do that. We're like,
yeah.
Okay.
But it's not our voice.
Because then I say something.
Yep.
And
you can clearly hear it is not either of us. And George and Nancy just don't sound like that. So
no.
Yeah, play it again.
Uh-huh. We could try that down in the wardroom.
Sure, that'd be great.
Cool. Oh, see? Okay.
It says, let's go.
Let's do the wardroom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're both very bad about like setting something like, okay. But it's not.
No,
we catch it a couple times that it's somebody saying okay, but it's neither of us.
Right. And it sounds kind of not twangy, but yeah, medley, or I don't know how to
It's
almost explain it.
As I say, the
mechanical
voice
or something.
almost sounds kind of relieved, though.
Like, oh, thank God they're leaving.
Like, okay. Like it's
Or
not
maybe
an excited okay, but it's not
Yeah.
like a okay. It's like a okay.
You guys are wearing me out.
Right. So this is the final room that we're going to do for the night or for this episode, and then we'll do the rest of it in the next episode. So at this point, we head on to the wardroom, and we are using the dowsing rods, the millimeter, the K2, the spirit box, and the headphones for the Estes method, which is where you put the headphones on. Someone closes, the person with the headphones on is connected to the spirit box. That's all they can hear. Their eyes are closed. They're completely, basically sensory deprived to just the spirit box. And then the other person walks around and asks questions in a low enough tone that you can't hear them.
Okay.
So we've also got the cat balls. We have the ghost box. We've got our recorders, and Whitney's camera is focused on me while I'm doing the Estes method. So we pull out the cat balls, and after Whitney puts one out, one of them goes off, and you can see it kind of flashing. And George mentions, no, that thing went off. Like, you put it down, and it stopped flashing, and then it flashed again. So I have a video of that.
Oh, I thought that was because you just set that there.
Yeah. I set it and walked. So that went off.
So it's difficult to see. It's in like this back corner over here, and you can barely see it flashing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just real quick, and then George is like, no, that went off while he was doing it. So
Okay.
at this point, Whitney is walking around and asking questions. And she asks, I got no responses through the entire thing.
Okay.
Nothing is talking to me. I'm not even getting radio noise because at this point we're in the ship and there's not really radio transmission getting through. So she said, do you spend a lot of time in the wardroom? And she got no response. Were you the one that
By the way, I had
she had the dowsing rods. Yeah, she had the dowsing rods and was walking around with them. Did you spend a lot of time in the wardroom? No response. Were you the one that touched the ball in the back corner here? No response. Are there anything in here?
Are there anything in here?
Leave me alone.
I said, LOL, what?
Fuck you.
Got no response. But then she said,
That's disgusting.
yeah. Were you the one who was super excited for us to come down here? And got yes. Can you tell Taylor how many spirits are in here? No response. If I get close to the table you're at, can you touch one of the cat balls? No response. Did you die in battle? And at this point, I pulled my headphones off because I thought something was moving beside me. I could see it, like, even though my eyes were closed, I could sense it right here.
Okay.
And it looked like a black mass in my head. And it turned out that George and Nancy had just left. And I think that's what I was sensing was them walking past me.
Okay.
But then Whitney asked, were you the darkness that just walked past Taylor? And it said no. And then it said, do you know what that black mass was? Whitney asked this. And she got a yes from the rods, but we got an EVP shortly after that question was asked, only on my recorder.
I don't like it. This whole little, like, section, I'm like, huh?
This is freaky. This is a freaky section. So here we go.
Do you know what that black mass was?
I'll play it again.
Do you know what that black mass was? I feel like I hear something in the middle, but I
can't make out what it says.
It's
Okay.
like it's like after you say it.
And then there's like a shh.
Or a, yeah.
And then it sounds like maybe my shoe towards the end, like me.
Yeah, so at one point, so I think I tried to grab it so that you got the question and then you saying yes at the end to show that no, I didn't grab that. Okay, that's okay. Did you hear it? Okay. I thought it said Jason. Okay.
I don't hear anything.
Interesting. So I heard that loud and clear. So
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange. Then Whitney says, "Can you touch the ball on the table that's next to me?" Gets no response. "Can you tell Taylor a command you would normally get?" No response. "Can you tell Taylor how old you are?" No response. Then Whitney says, "Do you not want to talk through the spirit box?" And no response. And it gets she rephrases it. "Yes or no, do you want to talk through the spirit box?" And I'm going to play the video from this portion for you.
I've got goosebumps.
Whitney knows what's coming.
I know what's happening.
Okay. This is probably the most compelling thing we got for the entire night.
No.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of compelling stuff, but this is why I wanted to end on this room.
Were you that darkness that just walked past Taylor? Take that as no, thank you. Can you move it back to neutral, please? Back to neutral. Do you know what that black mass was? Thank you. Can you put it back to neutral? Touch the ball on the table that's right next to me. Tell Taylor a command that you would normally get. Can you tell Taylor how old you are? Do you not want to talk through the spirit box? Yes or no? Do you want to talk through the spirit box? No. All right. Well, I will let Taylor know that.
Something is touching my headphones.
Are you? Are you touching her headphones as a way to say, I don't want to talk this way? Okay. Give me 1 second and I will let her know to take the headphones off. Okay. They don't want you to do that.
They don't want me to do this?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I asked, do you want to talk through the spirit box? Yes or no? And I got no. And then you said something's touching my headphones.
Oh, shit.
And
okay.
I said, are you touching her headphones to get her to stop? And it said yes.
Okay, fair enough. I have chills.
I do too, yeah.
That's okay. All right. Thank you for letting us know. We don't want to do anything that you don't want us to do.
So what did it feel like?
It felt like, so this is how it felt normally, just sitting with it on.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden I felt something kind of just barely, like I could feel it moving my glasses, and I could feel it just barely like pressure changing on either side. And for the longest time I sat there and was like, I'm making that up. Like I'm feeling, and then I sat there because I was wearing these exact headphones.
Okay.
And I was like, I wear these every single time we podcast, every single time I evidence review, every single time I use this computer and need to do something using headphones. This is what I use. And never once have I felt it do that. And that's whenever I was like, something's touching my headphones.
Huh.
So.
But the fact that you said it.
When I did.
When you said it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I can't hear anything she's doing. As a matter of fact, I've got video of whenever I was getting set up and I'm playing with the spirit box and Whitney and George are talking to each other. And at one point, Whitney looked over and she was like, can you hear me? And I was like, because I can't hear anything. And she was like, okay, I think we're good. And then at one point, I look over and I'm like, are we doing this? Because I can't hear anybody. And they were like, we're doing this. I was like, okay.
Interesting.
So,
yes.
So yeah, that was really freaking creepy. And after that, let's see, let me get to where. Okay, so she asks the spirits, I don't know if this was on here, are you happier now? And it said yes, with the dowsing rods.
Okay.
She said, does the spirit box feel more intrusive? And no response. Or does it require more energy? No response. Or do you just not like it? Got a yes. Did you touch the ball that's on that table over there? No. Was there someone else who touched that ball? No. Do you not want us to use these anymore? No response. Is there less than 5 spirits in the room right now? Yes. Are there 2 spirits in the room right now? That was what I said. I just kind of picked a number. It said yes. And then Whitney said, you're not the joker from upstairs, are you? No response. Are you the one that was joking with us in the junior officers' quarters? Yes. Then Whitney hands me the dowsing rods. And I said, are you the one that follows George and Nancy? It said no. Do you like using the dowsing rods? Yes. Are you the spirit that didn't want me doing the spirit box? No response. Did you serve on the ship when it was active? No response. Did you used to work on the ship after it was inactive? No response. Are you still here with us? No response. So at this point, we were like, it clearly left. So we were like, whatever. So we put the dowsing rods away and we just sat to see what we heard for a while. Mm-hmm. And we had the ghost box out and it was kind of doing its thing, but we were really just kind of sitting, listening and watching to see what happened. There is something that appears only on my recorder at this point. One more time.
Sounds like a sniff.
Yeah, it's somebody breathing. It's neither of us because the camera is still on us at that point. I'm using my cell phone cam to do to watch the ghost box, and it doesn't appear on my camera. It doesn't appear on her camera. It only appears on my recorder.
So I actually hear, hey.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Okay, I actually said I got on the EVP. I got somebody saying hi. So
Yeah, it's like someone sat down and was like, hey.
Yeah. So here, I'll play it again for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So at that point, we didn't get anything for the rest of our time in the ward room, so we decided to head to our next location, which is the brig, which we will do on our next episode. So, yeah. So,
if you guys are like, wow, that was crazy. It gets crazier.
It does, yeah.
From what I understand, I mean, just from what I experienced. But Taylor apparently has more.
I am so excited about the next episode. I'm so excited because like this stuff was cool, like the wardroom stuff was cool, and the little EVPs here and there were cool, but this is.
It felt like
it ramped up. It got comfortable with us.
It somehow
ramped up.
I don't want to say chaos, but it was just like, whoa, the rest of the time. And I was like, oh my God.
It was really neat because it felt like it kind of built to a crescendo at the very end of our investigation.
Oh, yeah.
And then once that was done, it was like, and it's done. Like, they were like, let's give these girls a show before they leave. And then after that, it was, so yeah.
Yeah, that, I'm not going to say, but it was like everything happened, and then we kind of sat there for a little bit, and we were like, well,
I guess we'll
go. I guess it's time to go.
So, but yeah, so again, if you hear anything in this that you are like, no, I don't necessarily hear that, but I do hear this, or if you're George and Nancy and you're listening and you're like, no, this can be explained, please just reach out to us and let us know. And
for sure, if you guys are only listening, if you get a chance, go check out the videos.
Yes, yeah. So this will be posted as a both a regular podcast that you can listen to normally, but it'll also be a video podcast on Spotify and our YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out if you want to see the video footage with this. So yeah, I hope you're looking forward to the next episode, and
we will spook you bitches later.
We'll spook you later, bitches. Goodbye.
Bye.